don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. These are the types of stories that you have to pay attention to, the tweets and the things that a lot of these guys in Silicon Valley who are really just plants from DARPA, they're government agents, pretending, of course, to start these corporations with government technology, of course, all under the guise to deceive you into thinking that you're purchasing these things because these are things that benefit you, like cell phones, which are really government tracking devices, and all the new technology that is supposed to make your life easier, of course, is not to do that. It is to enslave you. And we're continuing to see the push towards universal basic income. And the majority of people think that this is a good thing because the majority of people are lazy, want to sit on their phones all day, be entertained constantly by Netflix or whatever they're watching or listening to. They don't want to actually work, and it's understandable in some cases because the majority of jobs that they've created in this world are pretty useless. Back in the day, of course, people had a reason to get up in the morning because they had to provide food, whether they had to farm themselves or they had to do things with their bare hands and manual labor. Now, of course, most people are confined to sitting in offices and cubicles. They feel worthless. They try to find meaning in a pointless world, most of which a lot of these people have been convinced not to have families or not to be in relationships because they divided people so much so. And we pretty much have a world that is ready to accept universal basic income. And that is why they've made guys like Elon Musk into playing into these political parties where Elon Musk is now conservative, so conservatives are accepting of the ideologies that Elon Musk has and the technology that he's bringing. We obviously seen the mind control with the shift with conservatives and Christians towards accepting electric vehicles when they would never have accepted it 2 to 3 years ago. Now that you see them driving around in these gay Tesla robot trucks thinking that they're RoboCop, even though these things couldn't get out of an inch of snow, they're completely useless. And the whole purpose, of course, is, again, to enslave you. So Elon Musk, once again, is tweeting out about universal basic income. They're talking about how it's going to be a remedy to AI-driven unemployment. So these people are telling you, look, you're going to have no purpose of living anymore. We're going to take away all jobs, and you're not going to, but we won't kill you. We'll just imprison you. We'll give you universal basic income. Now, the common sheeple hears that and says, that's great. I don't want to work. I don't want to get up at 7 o'clock. I'd rather sit at my house all day. Until they realize what it actually is. When you're just sitting and you're trapped and you're living like a prisoner, which I've been telling people for years, pretty much just look at COVID and how depressed people were, right? Sitting at home, doing things virtually, right? Virtual doctor's appointments, having your groceries delivered to you, all, of course, because you have all this technology in your home that is spying on you, monitoring you, listening to you, making sure you're being compliant and a good citizen and not planning any kind of uprising against what is actually occurring. And, of course, nothing happened during COVID, and we can't expect anything to happen in the future when we have these robots patrolling our streets. And it might sound crazy, but that's what the plan is. So Elon Musk tweeted this out. Universal high income. Remember, this is the new quote that they're using. Instead of universal basic income, they decided to change the wordage a little bit so that people out there think that they could not work and also be rich. So people out there who make good money, maybe the middle class, right, hear this universal basic income, like, I don't want to make minimum wage. I like the way that I live. I like to go on my trips, and I like to buy my toys and all that kind of stuff. Oh, but it's high income, right? Universal high income. Oh, now they're listening, right? Via checks issued by the federal government is the best way to deal with unemployment caused by AI. AI robotics will produce goods and services far in excess of the increase in the money supply, so there will not be inflation. Now, what people should be saying is, who's allowing this technology to get built? Why aren't the people regulating this technology? Because we obviously see the government's not regulating it because the government's bringing it in. They're bringing AI governance. They're bringing in these data centers, pretending that the corporations are using all of their money to fund these data centers, when you are. And eventually you'll realize that you funded it with your tax money, just like we all funded these underground tunnels that the government has created over the last the decades now, centuries pretty much, that they've built under our feet, where they traffic human beings, specifically children, right? All at the expense of the taxpayer. But when you realize that all this stuff is on your dime, it's going to be too late. And you're going to say, wait a minute, I was okay with this stuff. Why? Well, because you were distracted with ridiculous stories about men playing women's sports, all the stuff we hear in the news, the left-right paradigm, divide and conquer. That's what you're seeing. It's the oldest motto of war, right? Divide and conquer. You're watching everybody divided while they're conquering and bringing this in with no pushback. The only pushback we've seen are some people pushing back against the data centers, but to no avail, because nothing will happen to stop it. The government's monitoring if people are doing anything, if people are going to try to physically stop this from occurring. And of course the answer, again, is no. Standing there with picket signs does nothing at all. Just like during COVID, where the government took your jobs away, the government forced people to poison themselves, many people died from it. What happened? Was there an uprising? No, there wasn't. Just people complaining about Fauci, complaining about this, complaining about, curfews, stores now closing at 6, wearing masks, complain, instead of actual action. So they know that they have everybody right where they want them. So as they bring in AI, they're preparing you for universal basic income. Now they need to convince you that this is great. And of course, they're just using mind control tactics, as they always do, to convince you that life will be wonderful. You won't have to have some pointless job anymore. You could sit around on your technology and be miserably depressed without realizing why you're so miserable and depressed, pretty much taking away the purpose of a human being's life. So remember, they're calling it universal high income. And remember, this is all about the technocracy. Okay, this was the movement, the technocracy, the technocrat. This goes back to the 1930s. Again, does this sound familiar when they tried to merge the US, Canada, and Greenland? Does that sound familiar? Right, what they're doing right now? Elon Musk is in the White House right next to Donald Trump talking about bringing in Greenland, bringing in Canada, that it's in US's best interest. It's all about natural resources, right? Meanwhile, the technocracy movement, one of the founding fathers was Elon Musk's grandfather, who was one of the founding fathers of this movement. And of course, this movement is all about being run by these technocrats, these people who are of high intelligence, we're told, the guys like Elon Musk, these household names, Zuckerberg, all these guys who they tell you created this tech, even though it's really DARPA technology. And I've proven that time and time again. Videos are available on the website. Creation of Facebook goes back to the Pentagon. The creation of all this technology that we see with Neuralink goes back to DARPA. All this stuff that we're seeing with online purchases, online shopping becoming the new normal. Everybody's going, it's because of Amazon and Elon Musk. Amazon and Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, his grandfather, one of the founding fathers of DARPA. These are all government initiatives to enslave society, because they couldn't enslave everybody again by throwing us all in prison cells. There's not enough prison cells to get us all in. So universal basic income was one of the key components of the technocrats. Okay, they proposed a technical, data-driven solution to technological unemployment caused by AI and automation. UBI has roots in diverse political ideologies. Its current rise in popularity among tech leaders positions it as a techno-populist tool designed to manage an economy where AI generates immense wealth but eliminates traditional labor. And of course, they'll tell you, hey, you'll have all the coolest technology, all the coolest phone. These are all spying devices. These are all devices that you don't need. Things like the Alexa. You don't have to get up and turn on the light switch. Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? Just like when you're using your remote control on your TV. TV's got a camera on it, the remote control. You know how you can talk into it and you can go, hey, put on ESPN. Hey, put on Bravo. Hey, put on one of these channels, right? Did you ever think for 1 second, oh, wait a minute, the remote can hear what I'm saying when I press this button, and then it can actually do what I'm saying? Right, because it's listening, but you don't realize that because you're thinking it in reverse. You're thinking, how convenient, I can tell it without pressing the actual channel numbers. I can talk to it. So clearly it can listen to you. All of these devices are listening devices. And you might go, I don't care if the government's listening. Oh, no, you will care, because the second that you start to feel bombarded or you start to feel poked by the government, which will come no matter what it is, because they're going to take over every aspect of your life. Whether you're somebody who goes, I don't care about this stuff, these guys are conspiracy theorists, I don't care. Okay, well, maybe you'll care when you're rationing electricity and you start complaining about it, because the electricity's going to the data centers. Well, guess what? They'll hear you on the phone complaining about it, and they'll show up at your front door, because this is going to turn into China. So we have universal basic income, for anyone who doesn't know. Okay, universal basic income, again, or UBI, is a proposed social welfare program where all citizens regularly receive a fixed sum of money regardless of their income. So fixed income, which means if you're somebody who likes to work, you work really hard, you make money. Everyone hates capitalism now because of mind control. Well, guess what? The guy who lays around, smokes weed every day is going to have the same amount of money as you. The guy who lays around is gluttonous, who just shoves food into his face. He doesn't realize that even though he loves this because he doesn't want to work, he's not going to be able to eat the amounts of food that he loves to eat anymore because of universal basic income. You're going to have rations about food. You're not going to eat the same foods that you like to eat. I mean, it's incredible how people don't think. But this is a fixed sum of money regardless of their income, employment status, or other conditions. The unconditional cash payment aims to ensure a basic standard of living for everyone, offering a safety net, potentially reducing poverty and inequality. Of course, inequality, one of those words I always cover, that they've ingrained in people's minds. Oh, there's inequality. You're gay, so it's an inequality. Everybody's out to get you. Oh, you're black. It's inequality because you're black. Oh, it's inequality because you're Asian. The inequality is that they want you to think that it's not fair, that life's not fair, that people have more than you should live like you. But the reality is that they want everyone to live like peasants. So if you are a peasant now, guess what? You'll be thrilled with this. But you will realize that even living as a peasant now will be nothing compared to what universal basic income does, because you still won't be able to have the things that you like even as a peasant. Okay? Even the food you like to get with food stamps. Guess what? You're not going to like it because you're not going to be able to get meat anymore if you like meat. Okay? You're going to be eating some bugs. So, what they've done is they've taken universal basic income, and of course Elon Musk has called it high income now that he's a conservative, to convince conservatives that this is great. And this is the difference, right? Tell me where you see the difference. There is universal basic high income refers to a concept where everyone receives a regular high-level income regardless of their employment status or financial need. This is a more ambitious version of universal basic income, where the basic income is sufficient to meet not just basic needs, but also allow for a higher standard of living, right? Just deceitful wording, same difference, you're a prisoner. So AI is going to accelerate the onset of universal basic income, and now they're trying to let you know, again, they've been hinting at it, right? Will AI replace human jobs and make universal basic income necessary? Here's what AI leaders have to say about UBI. They're convincing you now that it's in your best interest. They're convincing you as well to like and accept robots in our society. Nobody's blinking. Everyone's seen Terminator, nobody's blinking. Everyone's seen these movies where robots go rogue